Hey guys, it's Michael from Chess Lifestyle, and I'm beginning to realize that I'm either making these videos in uh, the break of day when I'm walking around town and filming as I go, or I'm making them at ungodly hours at night when I should be sleeping and I'm procrastinating. And this is the latter. So today actually we're going to be taking a look back at the Shereshevsky method, and if you've been keeping up with these videos you'll have seen in episode 2 I did a short review of the book. Now in fact what I wanted to do here was take a look at chapter 2, which I'm currently studying, and basically this is Shereshevsky's guide to studying the chess classics. And what I wanted to share with you today was actually a really fascinating concept which I actually hadn't heard of before until reading this chapter, so probably it's going to be new to you too. And I thought the best way to do this, since I'm not going to be editing the videos, is that I'm about to show you a position on my laptop screen, and I want you to set up the position either on a real board, or you can go back to this point and pause the video, maybe set it up on your phone or on Lichess, but I think that's going to be the best way forward. So in fact, if I can do this without messing up too much, right, so that is the position I want you to set up, and it is white's turn to move here. So once you've set that up, come back to the video. Oh boy, I wish I had my editing software right now. But okay. Yeah. So now you've got the position set up, let me read out what Shereshevsky had to say. So this was a game between Aaron Nimzovich with white against Capablanca's black. So he writes, "This game is a classic example of logical and active play by the Cuban genius. It was included by Garry Kasparov in a relevant volume of his series My Great Predecessors, and below we quote some of his own notes." So before I quote the notes, I want you to just, if you haven't done already, try and evaluate the position, what's going on. Feel free to pause the video and have a think for a minute or two. So the very first thing you should always do in any position is count the materials. So white has an extra pawn, now, but the next thing that may not be so obvious to the beginner is that black has a lead in development. And Gary goes on to elaborate that if we count the tempi, white has played e2, e4, one move, knight c3, a second move, castling, a third move, the queen has gone to a6, which is two more moves, so a total of 5. Black, on the other hand, has played g6, d6, b takes c6, which is 3 tempi, plus rook c8, rook e8, queen d7, bishop g7, knight f6, castling, another 6, so a total of 11. And he does say that, okay, some of these tempi aren't as good, so like rook c8 isn't as good of a tempi. But the point is that black has a lead of development, right? So in this position here, it's white's turn to move, and black is actually attacking the e4 pawn. And white has a few ways to defend it. He can either retreat his queen to d3, he can push his pawn to f3, or he can play rook to e1. So have another think, feel free to pause the video and try and think, what would you play here? So in the actual game, white played the move queen d3, Nimzovich, and what Shereshevsky writes is, queen d3 was played and later lost the game in highly instructive fashion. Capablanca replied, queen e6. Again, attacking the pawn and forcing another defensive move from white. Later, the game developed along the lines of a modern Benko gambit, as black's knight transferred to c4 via d7, and black's rooks came to the a and b files. It proved impossible to resist the pressure. This is how the game went. So, I'll go again from the beginning. Either try and visualize this, or just play the moves out on your board. So, in the starting position, we've got 15 queen d3, black played queen e6, white had to defend with pawn to f3, black now rerouted the knight with knight d7, white tried to develop with bishop d2, but it was a little too late, because black now played knight e5, queen had to retreat to e2, and black chucked the knight into c4, and later brought the rooks to the A and B file, and white eventually had to sack an exchange, and it was rubbish, and black easily won and converted the exchange up. So this is what was really interesting, which I want to read out next. So what Shereshevsky basically concludes, which, okay, to be fair, he was taking this from a book that was discussing some of the classics, and the book was actually a Russian book written by two authors, Zanosko and Borovsky, which never actually translated to English. But the conclusion he draws is, if you are behind in development but have a material advantage, which is what we see here, where white was up a pawn but only had 5 tempi to black's 11, you must not in any circumstances retreat those pieces which exert pressure on the enemy position. Maybe they are vulnerable, and leaving them in place may entail some risk, but they prevent the opponent maneuvering freely. So what it basically shows is that in this starting position with the white queen on a6, even though the queen is a bit vulnerable to attacks from the rook, it in fact prevents black from playing queen e6, thus playing knight d7, thus playing knight e5 to knight c4, and by keeping the queen on a6, you prevent black from developing in that manner. So in fact, the strongest move at the start would have been pawn to f3, not queen retreating to d3. And if after pawn to f3, black played rook a8 to hit the queen, white could simply go back to c4, queen c4, where it still keeps tabs on the c6 pawn and prevents black from completing his maneuver to improve his pieces. So I thought at this point, hopefully that is something insightful, and you can keep that in mind. And I thought I'd actually just share with you one final position, which I will show you on the computer screen now. So this is a position where it is black's turn to move. I can flip the board actually. So here is black's turn to move, and black needs to decide between the defensive moves of either queen back to c7 or black king to h8. And basically these are the only two candidate moves because white has a very serious threat. So if you would like, feel free to comment below firstly what is the threat from white, and then what black should play out of either queen c7 or king h8, and try and justify it as best you can. I'll leave the answer in the comments maybe in a few days. But okay, if you enjoyed this video and learned something new, please give a like on the video and subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, hope you can take something home from the beautiful and amazing work of Mikhail Shereshevsky. Okay, see you in the next video. Bye.